Hello. My voice box feels like it's in a vice, and getting words out right now is really difficult, but I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna stay with this. Exactly as the title says at the moment, there's this ultimate big picture each and every one of us has with our lives of how we'd like it to go, and we're forever giving greater or lesser amount of energy to creating that. So we could call it an active dream and an inactive dream. So in other words, the big picture, the best scenario we imagine our lives, how much are we actively giving energy to helping create that for ourselves? Or is it a case of we're just contented with what we have right now in our lives, that we're just so like, oh, okay, I don't want to rock the boat. I'm so grateful for what I have. I'm not going to give any energy to changing anything, even though I want it to be better. I know that might all sound confusing, but what I'm getting at is, for myself, I've got a mental health disorder, paranoid schizophrenia, so my experience of this shared reality is questionable. In other words, I have a label on me to say it'd be a good idea to turn around and look at yourself, because the way you're going about life is different to other people, and that's all it says. But with that label, I question myself. Hang on a second. As much as I fight the doctors and the nurses, and I get given a hard time, and I've got to take medication and everything else, and it's all put upon me in my life, pardon me, I don't poo-poo the fact that I've got a label on me, and that label might mean something. It makes sense, isn't it? I just haven't done the research exactly yet to understand what that label really means for me as an individual, as to how I experience this shared reality. If I did do the research on paranoid schizophrenia and see myself, which it's all in the, what's it called, all in the pipework, all in the pipeline. It's happening. I've just got to be patient with the big picture and see things through. But with that label, it says you are different. The way I go about life in terms of that now is to see myself as corrupted. In other words, something is going on with my experience of this shared reality, and I need to understand it. But I'm able to say it's corrupted, and that's all that's needed, because I question myself now. Sorry, my brain's gone blank. This often happens. I'm doing about 2-3 different therapies at the same time, and I got distracted for a second. But coming back to it, I'm corrupted. So everything that I do, the way I go about life, I should half expect that the way I'm going about those things for other people, for normal people, is different. In other words, I don't know what's wrong with me. It could be anything or everything. So that's what I've got to look at myself as at the moment. But I'm constantly working to be healed, to be a normal person, to be in control of paranoid schizophrenia. So I'm trying to see a picture and a way where I can apply myself to life. When I used to make these live streams, I used to just talk on air. And I'm sort of changing that. I could have continued. I mean, these have been like personal therapy for me. And that's what it really is, you know. A chance to share with the future. That's what these videos are. I get about, at the moment, about 4 views per on average, maybe 8 if I make a few regular. But I don't get a lot of views at the moment. I'm just in the mindset that the channel's going to take off one day, and where I've got 1 or 2 views, it's going to be 1 or 2 million or 10 or 20 million sort of thing. But it's just to share with the future. Hello future, you're watching this video. I've gone mad, I've gone off on a tangent, but I'm doing exactly what I said. I'm just sharing. And I tried to get out of my bubble where I was in, which was half depression, half boredom, half, I don't know, what could the third half be? Pain. I'm battling physical pain. So I've got all these things, and I thought, let's try and push myself to make a live stream, and the words weren't coming out. And I often find just saying exactly what's going on, which I just did, when I'm doing now, often helps to center me, and thereafter the videos have some coherence and have a narrative and context, you know, something to share rather than just hearing this idiot share. I'm getting into politics. I've never been into politics before. I don't like it. I don't like what democracy has become, the way it looks with parliament and prime ministers, and there's still war. Thousands of years. Surely to our best efforts we must see the eradication of war as essential to our collective survival mentality. We must see the eradication of war as fundamental. And thousands of years later, we're still at war. Sorry, I am in a bit of pain. I've got a electric cupping device on my side, and I just need to turn it up but it's falling on the floor, so I've got to be careful. It's on the floor so it doesn't, because it makes some noise. I don't want it affecting the live stream. So yeah, I've been getting into politics. I just don't like what it's become. I'm sorry if your best efforts after thousands of years in development, God knows the amount of money that's been circulated through political systems around the world, the wars that have been fought, the injustices that are happening, the corruption that still takes place. The fact that it's so outdated, man. You want to look at something new, you look at the United Nations, and it's all a bit good in principle, you know, United Nations, but then America and Switzerland aren't in it, or they weren't. And it's like, well, what's the point of that? And then you get things like NATO, and Russia isn't in it. Well, surely, if all the world armies got together, there'd be no war. But I don't like it, but I've been following it. I've just been a bit bored with life, and life has said the pursuit of politics or following it just annoys me. Trump is a very in-your-face, full-on. He's been non-stop since he's been appointed. Oh, it's not the right word. Anointed. I can't think of the right word. But he's been non-stop, and he's annoying people left, right and centre. He's creating China as the bad guy. That's him, you know. At least it's not China and Russia. And it's interesting. I'm setting myself up basically to come back from the dead. I've had this mental health disorder and been alone for years. And in this place, I've realised I've got nobody. I've got nobody. And unfortunately, when I've seen my own mentality as a human being through, the finality is I'd let so many things go just to have everybody again. I don't know if that makes sense. In other words, I'm alone, and I give value to the things I do in my life. But obviously, my life as a whole keeps me separated from other people. Everything I do, everything I say, everything I consume, everything I give, it creates a life that's isolated to other people. And I've realised that, quite simply, I need to find people again. The life with people is far better than the life without people. And to make whatever compromises, hopefully it's not too many, to myself, because the way I live my life as an alone individual is me. Everything is me. Oh, this makes sense, that makes sense, the other makes sense, because it's me. In this position, this is what I would do, that's why it makes sense. At this time, I would give this to a homeless person. At this time, I would consume this whilst out shopping. All these little things add up to the things that make up my mentality. And that, all those little things, create a set of constrictions to an individual body that creates an external life. And that life is alone. It doesn't have people. But that person tries. But he realizes he hasn't given enough value to other people before, and He hasn't had the tool set in his arsenal of tools to interact with other people, to understand people, to be there with people. It's almost like I needed to break and say, right, however happy alone you are, it's better with people, and just to see that, make that realization, because before you can't do it. You need that realization, and to get to that realization you need to realize how painful it is. Otherwise you might make it. There are some people that might be able to do it. A life alone, there's been samurais that have been like that. They keep coming up on my YouTube feed. Great samurais that just were alone, you know, like monks in the mountains, like sages and yogis. And that's what I aspired to be. So for me, I really needed to see it out. For someone else to like, nah man, a life alone, you lot are stupid. I need a good partner by my side. I need my family. I need people. And to see that really simply, for me, I'm a bit stupid. I'm autistic as well. And my life, I've been bullied. I've been not had great friends. I've been lucky with friends in a way, but I've never really had too many close friends in my life. So I've always been kind of alone. So it was easy for me. Well, I've seen it through, and I'm like, no, right, I need to find people again. And right, oh, okay, my skill set isn't up to scratch to interact with people. I need to change that amount to be able to interact with people. And if I change that amount, my whole life will change by that amount, and it really will. I'm having to be clean and hygienic for the first time in years. It doesn't make sense to me. Be wild and free, man. I'm a hippie at heart. Wild and free, do what you want. As long as you're not spitting on somebody else, what does it really matter? We take hygiene far too seriously and surgically, you know? The immune system back in the medieval times, when they used to eat, when it wasn't so good, the hygiene, the immune system as a result is higher, is better, it's stronger. In other words, get a bit of bad in you and it makes you stronger. Don't worry about it too much. As long as you're not being spat on or weed on or stepping in poo, it doesn't really matter. So I've been really sloppy and relaxed. I haven't given any energy or focus to my hygiene. It's been really bad. I've been living in mess for years, and I'm getting on top of it. I'm training myself at the moment to do what I need, but at the same time to keep a clean home, to keep a clean appearance. I'm getting to my appearance. I desperately need a trim and a haircut, but that'll come. That's part of the big picture. That's what I was saying. All the little things, all the little concerns. But the way my life is structured is that I'm living on a whim. So I'm hoping to how would you say it? Trade all of my pains of the past for like the end of suffering for the entire planet. And I give everything in work in that direction to not have a planet that's suffering, no? Simple human sanity. No wars. I'm sorry, we are not civilized people. There's still war. We've had 2,000-3,000 years attempt at this. The Greeks, they had 1,000 years. They couldn't do it. I'm sorry. You've got 1,000 years of civilization and existence and you still can't eradicate war. But they weren't alone. Sorry, they were alone to themselves, sort of thing. In other words, there were other invaders. They couldn't do anything about them. But we're collective now. We're a capitalist world. That's the label. So just deal with it, accept it, but sort it out. Sort out the problem. We need to sort out war, innit? Then we can start talking about being an advanced species with technology. Otherwise, we might as well use all that technology to blow ourselves up or something, innit? I was just thinking, I couldn't understand why anyone would ever fire a nuclear bomb again. It's like, it's the end. If I'm going to fire a nuclear bomb, it's going to be at a country likely with nuclear capabilities, and they respond. And then America gets involved, or Russia gets involved if they're not involved already. How many nuclear bombs are we going to fire before we do inevitable damage? But the point is, the people are innocent. People are innocent, and the politics is in the government. They represent the people. So, alright, you try and damage infrastructure to shut down the country, which affects the people, and it's not good, but that's just the nature of war. But you don't blow up a whole effing city of people. That's what you're talking about. It's like being a little child, isn't it? And saying, oh God, I've lost this war. Sod it. I'm gonna fire it. There's just, I can't imagine a mentality where it's going to be fired. So why haven't we got round the table and said, if we can't sort out war, the obvious one, let's get rid of the nuclear bombs. Let's give some encouragement to the planet that we're not going to do anything that stupid, living on a knife edge like the Cold War. This live stream has been all over the place, but it's been what it's been. I am in so much pain, and yes, to the next one.